Thanks for tuning into this Prezi on documentation styles. We will look at 4 types of documentation styles: in-text citations and paraphrasing, and resources for citing and documenting information. At MacEwan University, there are 4 documentation styles that are most commonly used: APA, MLA, ASA, and Chicago. Each documentation style is based on a specific manual, and all provide guidance on avoiding plagiarism and giving credit to your sources. Here are examples of what the APA and MLA publication manuals look like. These manuals are hundreds of pages long, so Writing and Learning Services has created condensed handouts for each style guide. Samples of quoting and paraphrasing according to the various style guides will be covered later in this presentation. Most instructors will specify which documentation style they would like you to use in the course. The purpose of using a documentation style, such as APA, MLA, ASA, or Chicago, is to provide appropriate citations for the sources you are using. Whether you are quoting directly or putting the ideas of an author into your own words, that is, paraphrasing, you must formally acknowledge the source of your material. Without an in-text citation and a reference entry, your reader will not know where you found quotations and paraphrases. If you do not include an in-text citation and a reference entry in an assignment that requires you to use sources, you have plagiarized because you have not given credit to material that is not your own. Even though most plagiarism is unintentional, there are serious consequences for plagiarizing in writing assignments. Let's take a look at the in-text citations for quotations using the APA documentation style. According to the 6th edition of the APA manual, in-text citations should include 3 elements: the last name of the author, the year of publication, and the page or locator number. There are 2 ways these 3 elements can be incorporated into the body of your paper. Note the variations in the placement of the author, year, and page number in these quotations. In his analysis of seemingly inconsistent English spelling rules, Woolman, 2008, noted, "For nearly as long as English has had a relatively stable, or settled, spelling system, there have been people complaining about it and campaigning for change." Page 3. Individuals and organizations have argued for changes to the system of spelling. For nearly as long as English has had a relatively stable, or settled, spelling system, there have been people complaining about it and campaigning for change. Woolman, 2008, page 3. What would these quotations look like if they were cited according to MLA guidelines, which require only the author's last name and page or locator number? Both of these quotations include the author's last name and the page number. The year is not included in an MLA citation. As well, the verb to introduce the quotation, notes, is in the present tense. MLA requires the verb in a signal phrase to be in the present tense, whereas APA requires the verb to be in the past tense, so it was noted in the APA slide. Now let's cite these same quotations in ASA style, which would require the use of the last name of the author, the year of publication, and the page or locator number in an in-text citation. Notice how this citation style varies only slightly from the APA citation style. In the second paragraph, there is a colon between the year and the page number. Unlike the other 3, Chicago style requires the use of footnotes, which appear at the bottom of each page, or endnotes, which appear at the end of the paper before the bibliography. This is an example with the number 1 in superscript at the end of the quotation. This number corresponds to a footnote at the bottom of the page or an endnote at the end of your paper. Though you may quote directly from your sources when you are writing a paper, you may find that paraphrasing your sources is more appropriate because it shows that you understand what you have read. In regards to paraphrasing, there are different ways of doing it, but you must include the same elements as you did for quotations. When you summarize or rewrite an author's idea in your own words, you must always indicate your source. Also, make sure you do not change the meaning of the original passage when you rewrite it. Let's take a look at 2 paraphrasing examples using the APA documentation style. Note the absence of quotation marks in these paraphrases. Stewart, Bullock, and Allen, 2006, recognize the act of writing as an opportunity for learning more about a subject and for developing complex thinking. Page 3. In addition, the act of writing fosters the development of clear communication skills. Stewart, Bullock, and Allen, 2006, page 5. Remember to always give credit to others' words and ideas you use in your writing assignments. Each in-text citation must correspond to a reference entry, which provides more information, such as publication details and URLs, about your source for the reader. The reference entries will be listed in the bibliography on the last page of your writing assignment. Bibliography means book list. All of the documentation styles include a bibliography, but they are known by different names. For example, APA requires a references page, but MLA requires a works cited page. Writing and Learning Services has created short, informative handouts for all 4 documentation styles. Just as you would not try to memorize a dictionary, you do not need to memorize a documentation style handout or manual. Find the specific documentation style you need on our website, and then open up the corresponding PDF handout. Then take a look at the general formatting rules on the first couple of pages of the handout to get a sense of your paper's layout. Following the general formatting section is the reference entries section. Here you will find templates for each type of source, such as a book or a website. Each template includes examples and variations. For example, you may have to cite an ebook, so you would look under the book section and then find the ebook template. Sometimes you may have to combine 2 examples to create a reference entry that fits your source. The in-text citation guidelines will always follow the reference entries section in the handout. It is designed this way because you should create your reference entries before you create your in-text citations. This will make your life a lot easier. The in-text citation guidelines highlight the rules for quoting and paraphrasing. If you have a question about how to cite multiple authors of a source, for example, you would look in this section. Finally, don't forget to check out the sample bibliography included at the end of the handout. The Writing and Learning Services website also includes tutorials for formatting your paper. They can be found under the Citing or Documenting Information section. Check out the formatting guides if you need help with fonts, margins, headers, and spacing. The Writing and Learning Services LibGuide, which is located on the library's website, provides in-depth instructions for using the APA documentation style. It includes many specific examples and variations. On a related note, the library's online database includes a Cite This option for most sources. Although this can be a great starting point, you should not rely on the accuracy of the reference entries this software creates. Therefore, if you use this option, always make sure to double-check for mistakes and omissions. If you require further assistance, don't worry, we have your back. On Blackboard, there is a Self-Enroll course for the APA documentation style. Any McEwen student can sign up for free, and you can finish the APA tutorial at your own pace. It includes practice with creating entries, quizzes, and a certificate of completion. Of course, if you have questions, feel free to make an appointment to see one of the consultants at Writing and Learning Services. We are open Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and you can book an appointment on our website. You can also visit us at our Writing Center, which is located in room 7112, right down the hall from the office of the University Registrar. You are always welcome to stop by to ask a quick question, consult a bounty of resources, or request more in-depth help in citing sources and avoiding plagiarism. Thank you for viewing this presentation on documentation styles.